Namaste and welcome to another edition of the Bharatvaarta Weekly. We're back after a long hiatus and hopefully you missed us. So I have with me Abhishek and Nirav here to run you through the news and events of the week that was. This was the Independence Day week and we had plenty of action. Of course, we had some fantastic news on the bilateral trade front. India and UAE have begun conducting trade in local currencies, both the rupee and the dirham. Over the past week, India bought crude oil from the UAE and paid with Indian rupees. The transaction comes after one involving the sale of 25 kilograms of gold from a UAE gold exporter to a buyer in India. In July, India signed an agreement with the UAE, allowing it to settle trade in rupees instead of dollars, boosting India's efforts to cut transaction costs by eliminating dollar conversions. During a visit by the Indian Prime Minister, Sri Narendra Modi ji, to the UAE, the two countries also agreed to set up a real time payment link to facilitate easier cross border money transfers. Nirav, this is pretty fantastic, right? I mean, cutting out the dollar, using local currencies, and so on. So I know, I mean, 25 kilograms of gold and whatever barrels they bought were a small step, but a significant one nevertheless.
Oh no, so see what is going to happen is international prices of gold and oil will continue to remain in dollars. UAE's currency, the AED or Arab Emirate Dirham, is pegged to the dollar. So the main thing is, see, you have to find why was the dollar so useful. Was because you could use that. Say UAE was a net exporter and exports a lot of oil. With that, if they received Indian rupees, then they need to import only from India. But now UAE India has a significant trade relationship. So a lot of agri exports, a lot of manufactured good exports, a lot of people moving back and forth. You have there are obviously more Indians in the UAE than Emiratis themselves, right? So you have a huge diaspora there. So, and if you remember, in 1966, India devalued the rupee, but before that, their currency was the Gulf rupee, which was pegged to the Indian rupee, right? But then India had its own challenges economically after the wars in 62 and 65, and India devalued its currency. And that is the reason they removed the peg. And after the whole forming of OPEC, etc., that they decide all the Middle Eastern countries decided to peg their currencies against the dollar. What this does is, for both India and UAE, if tomorrow, like Russia, there are some sanctions thrown on either one of them, this trade can go about between these two countries without any third party trying to put sanctions or put sand in the gears. So that is very important. Second thing is, when say like a bank uh, has to trade like, so any country has to trade any commodities, there is some invoicing, there's some payments made, so you need some cash in the bank account, and that is why you always need some dollars in the bank account. So you need to buy some dollars at particular time and then make that payment, and then that maybe UAE spends in whatever things that it has. So at least the trade with UAE is not balanced, but it has become more balanced after India started importing Russian oil. So our exports to UAE haven't dropped, but our imports have dropped. So trade probably is roughly balanced. I don't know the exact data. So now we can have this bilateral relationship. Second thing is, we wanted to migrate UPI and allow that. So I think in UAE is one of the countries where we are having this connect of UPI, where Indian residents can go to the UAE. If you go on a holiday, you can make payment by UPI, and that conversion is made direct from rupee to dirham, and you can spend in a local restaurant, local shops, etc. So that was some plumbing done. We also want to add it to the whole banking system through our RTGS, like our banking networks. So, which again, you cannot be boycotted out of SWIFT. So, what India has done is just try to make this a little bit de risking from the US. We don't know how the US policy towards India might change. India is like a very country which likes to maintain its independence and be on a line. So, you don't want to be too dependent on someone. I'll give a some sort of an example, and India is nowhere close to it. But earlier, before the euro was formed, I think dollar was the kind of currency even in the European bloc. And trade between, say, the Eastern Europe and Western Europe, there was not much trade between Eastern Europe and Western Europe, but all around was like still a lot of it was done in dollars or like Deutsche Mark. But now with the euro forming, all the peripheral countries like Poland, Czech Republic, Hungary, etc. So they are all transactions with Western Europe is all done in euros. So their balances are more in euros. So they don't need to rely on the US dollar as much. So China is trying to do that with its own currency, with a lot of its trading partners. China is trying to like do trade with Argentina and like Chinese yuan. So now India is trying to form a bloc that India in itself, hopefully the economy keeps growing, and India with its largest trading partners can form this small sort of bloc where they also keep trading with India. And like these trades are done in INR and Indian rupee. And lastly, for these big petroleum exporting countries, there's a big risk. They have a lot of reserves in US dollars. So they need to de risk from that as well because Russia's all reserves were seized or like they're frozen. Russia doesn't have access to it. If for some reason, and it need not be an invasion for or a war or something, but for whatever reason, or politically if somebody is against UAE, for example, then they might have their reserves seized as well. So they want to use less US dollar as well. So this is a bit symbiotic. And so hopefully this just kind of you've reduced friction from trade. So hopefully there'll be more trade and more people to people contact. So yeah, but this does not. This is not the end of the US dollar. This is not devaluation of the US dollar. This is not Indian rupee strengthening a lot. This is just facilitation of a payment. It is, I would say, instead of paying in your Kirana store by cash, or if instead of paying by a credit card, now if you can pay via phone via UPI, it is reducing the friction, which sometimes enables you to spend a little bit more, gives more income to the shopkeeper, gives more income, more convenient for you as well. That's all. I think that's the closest parallel that I can give.
Right. We recorded an episode quite some time back, very, controversially titled, "Is this the end of the US dollar?" And this was with Nirav Kanodra and Mohal Joshi. Do check it out. I mean, it explains everything from the Bretton Woods agreement to the current scenario and crypto and all of that stuff. Right. Fascinating stuff. So do check it out. Ending on an optimistic note, R. Pragnananda became the first Indian after Vishwanathan Anand to enter World Cup semi-finals. On Thursday, Pragnananda and Arjun Erigasi fought tooth and nail over 9 games for the last semi-final spot of the FIDE World Cup. The teenagers caught the attention and the imagination of the chess world with a display of fine grit that witnessed 3 comebacks, including 2 by Arjun, before Pragnananda won the first sudden death game in style. Pragnananda is now being seen as a serious challenger to rating favourite Fabiano Caruana when the two clash on Saturday for a place in the final. Nirav, Indian chess talent, continues to shine.
There are few developments in this FIDE World Cup. So first is in the quarterfinals there were 4 Indians. So there was D Gukesh, Domaraju Gukesh, who's the youngest, 17 years old. He unfortunately lost to Magnus Carlsen. Uh, then there was Vidit Gujarati. He lost to Azerbaijani player Abbasov, and you had Arjun Erigasai, who's 20 years old, playing with Pragnananda, who's 18 years old. So Gukesh is 17, Vidit is 28. So in the 8 quarterfinalists, you had 2 Americans. There was Dominguez and Caruana, Fabiano Caruana from the US. Magnus Carlsen is from Norway, 1 from Azerbaijan, and 4 from India. And all these 4 are the youngest 4. So this is very, very positive news for Indian chess. So it's not about one star at all. It is about the breadth of talent we have. 2, during this FIDE World Cup tournament, so the way the tournament works is you play 2 classical chess games where each player has 90 minutes each, plus they get 30 seconds for every move they make. If the game goes to 40 moves, then they get 30 minutes more. So a typical game could be like 2 hours each, so like four hours plus. Then you have a few rapid games where each player has 10 minutes each, and you have blitz games. And after the blitz, so where Arjun Erigasai and Pragnananda both are 2700 plus in ELO ratings, their world ranks are about 30, about 25 to 30 ish. And this will obviously be updated on 1st of September. So they had like after 8 games, they were all equal. And then finally, they had to play out the sudden death where Pragnananda won. So first semi-finalist. Other news is Vishwanathan Anand chose not to participate in this tournament. D. Gukesh has gone ahead of Anand in the live ratings right now. So I think unless something else changes, 1st of September, Gukesh will be a higher rating than Anand. He will be number 8 or 9 in the world. And this is the first time Anand will not be. So FIDE publishes ratings every month, first of every month. From 1987, so yeah, that is correct. 1987 to or 1986 to now, Anand has been India's number one 37 years. So it's like a change of an era. And after this, what I foresee between these four, you also have Hari Krishna Pentala and Nihal Sareen. Nihal Sareen is also 20 years old or 19 years old, who are all in the top 40. So you have six players around here, six, and then Anand, obviously. Anand chooses and takes part only in a few tournaments now, being 54 years old. So you have like seven Indians in the top 44. So Nihal is the lowest ranked amongst this at number 44. So this is like a golden era of chess. This is like how the Soviets used to dominate, in the 70s and the 80s. And probably, I think kudos to, there are a lot of people involved in the chess ecosystem. Bharatvaarta had interviewed Ramesh Babu from Chennai, who has his own chess academy. He and his wife both are grandmasters. India has, I think, about 85 or 86 grandmasters already, and the numbers rising quite fast. So this is all extremely positive. So what do we have from here? In this Chess World Cup now, Fabiano Caruana was number three, now two in terms of FIDE ratings in the world, as per his live rating. He will be playing Pragnananda, but Pragnananda has already defeated Hikaru Nakamura in this tournament earlier. And the winner of these two will play the winner of Magnus Carlsen and Abbasov. Abbasov is the lowest ranked player. His rank was 69 as of 1st of August. So he will have a big upsurge in his rating as well. And then the winner will win the FIDE Chess World Cup. But this World Cup is a new phenomenon. It's not the main thing. The top three players from this will be given the chance to go into the candidates tournament, where there are eight people selected. They play out a tournament round robin between them, and then the winner plays the last year's winner of the FIDE championship. And that is like the main, where the title gets a direct entry into the final, and that is Ling Diren. Magnus Carlsen has been boycotting it because his disputes with the FIDE. Otherwise, he would be. He's the highest rated world player right now, but he earlier this year, he chose not to take part in it for his personal reasons. Pragnananda, by default, will get into the candidates. There is a small chance that he could go out there for the world title versus Ling Diren if he manages to win that. Right now, his live ranking is about 23 or 25. Let's see what surprises he has in store. He's defeated Magnus Carlsen as well in a single game, not in a series of games. So I think I'm very, very optimistic about Indian chess. As I mentioned, Gukesh is 17, Pragnananda 18, Arjun Erigasai is 20. He's sponsored by Quantbox. I'm giving a plug for like my friend's company that is sponsoring Arjun Erigasai. And Vidit Gujarati is 28, Nihal Sareen is 20. So you've got like it's like those things where you have like those four fiery fast bowlers. This team is going to be winning a lot, right? And this is what we have. Like how we had a Fab Four middle order of India. Like it's not just one. You have like Rahul, Sachin, Ganguly, Lakshman. Like this is what we have. This is extremely fantastic for the chess ecosystem, and now the popularity has increased for chess a lot. So a few things were a lot more online games during the pandemic and the lockdowns. A lot of people were playing online chess. There was the surge with the TV series Queen's Gambit, and there has been movie on Bobby Fischer. So this has made it popular again in pop culture. Earlier it was like extremely boring when you like Soviets were winning all the time, and then Americans after Bobby Fischer kind of like receded. So as you see, it's a little more widespread out, but India is the next decade in chess belongs to India. So we are not reliant on one player. Vishwanathan Anand has been the torchbearer. He was a solo one Indian grandmaster we had for decades, right? And now we've got like over 80. We've got seven people in the top 44. It is just phenomenal, and all of these are the younger ones. like if you just see amongst the young players, you got like one German, one Iranian in the top 10, right? And a lot of them are Indians now. So I think this is absolutely fantastic, and I'm extremely happy. Recently, through the pandemic, I have rediscovered my love for chess as well. So I'm following it quite closely. Another shout out, I followed some of the games on Sagar Shah's YouTube channel, Chess Base India. So if you want to catch some of the games with some analysis, which he breaks down what are the good moves and breaks it down for the layperson, definitely do follow that. Sorry, giving out plug outs for like a couple of other people, but this is a very, very proud moment. And mark my words, the next decade in global chess is going to be dominated by India.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, as you mentioned, Vishy Anand has been the torchbearer for a long, long time. I'm happy. I mean, did you see him in the Subway commercials? I mean, he's back, so I was very happy to see him on that. Yeah. All right. That brings us to the end of this Bharatvaarta Weekly. I certainly enjoyed catching up with you guys after a long break. Folks, if you liked the content. Don't forget to rate and review us on all popular platforms. It really will help the algo gods smile upon us and promote our content to more people. And we'll be back with more episodes. You can expect some fascinating episodes and content the week to follow. Stay tuned on our social media. We're at Bharatvaarta on all of these platforms. Until next time, from Abhishek, Nirav, and myself, thank you so much for joining us. Stay safe, take care, and Jai Hind.